My name's Cohen Rife, and I bought out Regina's fine meats at the Crossroads Market about 6 years ago. Well, instead of just getting everything done as quick as possible, we want to keep the cuts that cook together stay together. And I mean, even if it takes us a little bit longer to do things to get that way, we're willing to. That's what we're gonna do. I mean, I feel like a lot of places don't really view this as an art and just like a process to get the product in the counter, where I think we can take our time and make every single piece as good as we can, you know, and use the best ingredients that we can. Start off with fresh chickens and pigs every week, and then I've got a processor that's killing and cutting down beef into primals for us, as well as dealing with some other distributors. And then we'll make the fresh sausages tomorrow for this and any other value-added products. Like sometimes we do porchetta or like stuffed roast or marinated wings. We want to start doing more of that, which is why we expanded our sales team for the weekend, so we have more time to do this. And then all of our charcuterie products and everything are imported. Pretty soon we're looking at trying to build a smokehouse and a processing here in the market or somewhere in the neighborhood, so we can have products available more regularly during the week and have a little bit more control over our creativity on that end. I originally started at Superstore, and I was working as a cashier, and they transferred me into meat department and started teaching me how to cut meat. And I thought it was pretty interesting, but it was pretty mundane at that place, so I went to SAIT, and I did a course there. And then Superstore wasn't gonna pay me for my practicum, even though I was working as a meat cutter for almost 2 years. So I quit, which is probably the best step I ever made in my career. And I started working at a place called Pure Country Meats in Strathmore. That's like a slaughterhouse abattoir with a small retail counter in the front. Most of the product that we cut, we didn't own. People just like paid us to kill and age their beef and then give us custom cutting instructions. So I got to learn how to cut a lot of different style beef from different parts of the world and shit, which is a really, really cool opportunity, but it was a shitty job. So I just viewed it as like continued education, and I think it's paid off now. I quit that place, and my friend Bryce worked for Shelly and Billy that used to own Bow Wow's Bakery, and I was just coming to help the other butcher out for a little bit, and then she fired him, or he let one go or whatever, and then I don't know if she wanted to retire. I bought the business from her. Took the opportunity to enter business. The way I learned how to do this is from watching Mexican butchers on Facebook, but there's a lot of places that do it differently. Like I've seen some guys, I'm assuming they're in Eastern Europe, and they skin all the pigs ahead of time beforehand. So like everyone's got it different, and I was watching that and saying, hey, that would work really good. We could get that whole rib, get those extra 3 ribs on the St. Louis rib, and I mean those first 3 ribs that's like, so when you're looking at beef, that's gonna be your bumper ribs. Those are gonna be the ribs that you make your Korean short rib off of. That, and working at the plant, we used to deal with a whole bunch of different types of customers. Like we had Portuguese farmers and like people from all over the world and doing different kinds of stuff, and they'd all want it cut differently. So they'd come in and directly show us. There wasn't really like a specific name for it. I mean, if anything, everything has got 3 different names that mean the same thing, which is also really frustrating.
What's your favorite part of the pig?
Yeah, probably the copa, I would say, would be my favorite cut. It's got a little bit of everything. You can cook it any sort of way. Like you can cook it high heat, you can cut it into steaks, you can make pulled pork out of it. That's probably be my favorite, and like honestly, before it's even cooked, it's the prettiest too. Like when I look at a pig, like if I'm buying pigs that I haven't from a selection, this is your copa right here, right? And you can see, you're gonna get a really good idea of what the coloring on the whole meat thing is. Like, see, this is gonna be a really nice marbled pig, whereas the rest of it, you're not gonna get a consistent sign.
Maybe just recap your sausages a little bit. Like I know you guys make a lot in-house.
Yeah, so we go through and try to make sure there's no connective tissue in our coarse grind, and we're not trying. A lot of places will grind their sausages really fine so they can hide more stuff in it, and we're trying to do the opposite and grind it as least as possible. You know, making sure that we're not using too much water or any binders. Like the only real salt is the only real binder or preservative we use, and we use 1.4%, which is the least amount that I think we can make a good emulsion happen for health reasons. And then all my spices are cured out of the spice merchant down there, unless it's something local out of Carter's. Carter's got an extensive garden with tons of exotic hot chilies that we like to take advantage of at the end of the season, and fresh herbs and stuff. But we just try and use the best ingredients we can, and we don't have like a staple list of sausage. We're always making new kinds, and like if people ask us, we just write it down on the wall here, and then we have to make it the next week, which sometimes gets a little crazy for us, but I mean, we just want to keep people happy. And like if any of these guys get an idea for a sausage, we'll just run with it. But I think that's not too different from a lot of butcher shops. That's your bavette muscle, and then this right here is the flank steak. So if you marinate these and grill them, wicked. I don't usually have them in the counter, but I have a few people that ask me for them. When I first started, it was always these center cut pork chops with the tenderloins, because the end cut just doesn't have the nice name to it. But a lot of people actually tended to, when you ask them and seen what they like, they preferred the end cuts. So now they sell the most. The Copa muscle that I'm going to show you guys here in a second is a really, really popular cut. Yeah, a lot of people have no clue what they want. Like, a lot of people come looking for ribeyes, but they want like a ribeye with no fat, or like any of the spinalis or ribeye cap or whatever on it, right? But it turns out they actually just prefer a strip loin. They just want a ribeye because it's marketed that way to them. Okay, and then there's our belly. And like I said, because we left that extra couple inches from the loin on this belly, it's wider. I get a better yield on my belly, which means I don't have to have as high of a price. And then without these skirt muscles that are on it, these are those dry end bits that you always see that are darker color, that are thinner. They don't cook like the rest of the bacon. And now it's nice and flat. So this is how bacon should have been done a long time ago, when everyone gave a shit about cutting meat. Yeah, it's inside skirt. You can see it's basically the same thing as like a flank steak. It's got a really wide grain to it. It'll pick up any sort of liquid that you put into it, or even a dry seasoning. It is a bit tougher, but with this darker color, you're gonna have a higher acidity. You usually have a higher flavor, just like the darker part on a rib chop. How it's darker in meat, that's because there's a higher amino acid concentration, which is gonna give you a higher flavor. Same with this bavette, same thing, marinate it, grill it. Basically just pork skirt cuts. And then this is your flank steak, same thing. This is super popular with our European customers, and I've got a lot more people turned on to them. It's basically where your rib end chop, which is your rib eye out of your pork, runs through into the shoulder, and we just isolate that out and then turn the rest of the shoulder into another roast. And then St. Louis style ribs, just the good part of the ribs, just the part that should be on the ribs. This part that's normally, when you buy a rib at a supermarket or many other butchers, a lot of these parts are still kind of tucked in around all those semi-bones, and it's just a terrible, it's not like a rib experience. Instead, marinate them. You can slice it thin after you marinate it and make a stir fry, or grill it and make tacos or fajitas. And then you get your ribs are just the good part of the ribs. We're Regina's Fine Meats, and we're at the Crossroads Farmers Market next to Say Cheese and Yummy Co. Candy Shop.